In a way, I'm happy to be part of this process because I'm I'm not a silent spectator, but I'm part of it, part of the game, and ready to pay the price, whatever be it.
84-year-old tribal rights activist Father Stan Swamy, who was in jail in connection with the Yelgar Parishad case, died on 5th of July, the same day when the Bombay High Court was hearing an urgent petition for his bail on his worsening health condition. He spent 9 months in jail on charges of terrorism. Despite his worsening health, his constant appeals for bail were rejected. Now, who was Father Stan Swamy and why has his death sparked massive outrage among people? Father Stan Swamy was a Jesuit priest. He had worked in the state for over 3 decades on various issues of the Adivasi communities on land, forest, and labor rights. He had also questioned the non-implementation of the fifth schedule of the Constitution, which stipulates setting up of a tribe's advisory council with members solely of the Adivasi community for their protection. Stan Swamy suffered from Parkinson's disease apart from other age-related health concerns. He had reportedly collapsed many times while in prison. He also suffered from hearing loss and had undergone several surgeries. Now shifting focus to Swamy's arrest. Stan Swamy was the oldest person to be accused of terrorism. He was arrested on October 8, 2020 and charge sheeted by the National Investigation Agency or the NIA under the stringent anti-terror law, which is the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act or the UAPA, for his alleged role in the 2018 Bhima Koregaon violence and links to the Communist Party of India Maoist. Now let's take you through the details of this entire case. On 1st of January 2018, tens of thousands of Dalits had gathered near Pune to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Bhima Koregaon won by the British Army against the Peshwas in 1818. The event witnessed widespread violence. On 2nd of January, an FIR was registered for alleged incitement. However, on 8th of January, 6 days later, another FIR was filed by the Pune police claiming that the violence took place due to an event held on December 31st, 2017 called Yelgar Parishad at Shaniwar Wada in Pune. The Pune police arrested activists claiming that the event was organized as part of an alleged Maoist activity. Several activists and academicians were arrested for allegedly making inflammatory speeches at the Yelgar Parishad event. As many as 16 people, including Stan Swamy, have been arrested so far in connection with the case. Stan Swamy was taken into custody from his residence in Ranchi. The NIA charge sheet named 8 people, including Father Stan Swamy and several others, for their alleged involvement and role in inciting a mob to violence in Bhima Koregaon on 1st of January 2018. The NIA also alleged that Stan Swamy was a member of the banned Communist Party of India Maoist and was involved in a conspiracy to instigate caste violence in Bhima Koregaon. In March 2021, an NIA court in Mumbai rejected his bail plea. His bail plea was pending since November 2020. The court observed that Father Stan Swamy was a member of an organization that hatched a serious conspiracy to create unrest in the entire country and to overpower the government. The agency also alleged that Stan Swamy was a convener of Persecuted Prisoners Solidarity Committee, which is described as a frontal organization of the CPI Maoists. The agency said it had recovered incriminating documents and evidence, literature, and propaganda from Stan Swamy. The 84-year-old activist, however, claimed that he was arrested because he raised his voice against government policies. In a statement, Stan Swamy had said that he had challenged the indiscriminate arrest of thousands of young Adivasis activists, with investigating agencies labeling them as Naxals.
What is happening to me is not something unique happening to me alone. It's a broader process that is taking place all over the country. Intellectuals, lawyers, writers, poets, activists, student leaders, they are all put into jail just because they have expressed their dissent or raised questions about the ruling powers of India.
On 6th of July this year, one day after activist Stan Swamy's death, a report from an American forensic agency, Arsenal Consulting, surfaced. The report claims that incriminating evidence was planted on the computer of Surendra Gadling, who also, like Father Stan Swamy, was arrested under the stringent anti-terror law for his alleged links to the banned CPIM group. The report says that Surendra's computer had been compromised over 2 years before he was arrested through emails that he received and on which others like Stan Swamy were copied. The report has now raised suspicions over the possibility that Stan Swamy's computer too may have been targeted. The report says that Surendra's system was compromised between February 2016 and November 2017, and at least 14 incriminating letters were planted on the computer by the attacker. Early in February this year, a similar report had claimed that the key evidence against some of the accused in the Bhima Koregaon case was planted on a laptop seized by the police. Stan Swamy on multiple occasions has claimed that the evidence presented against him of instigating a riot and of links to Maoist groups was fabricated, and this report has now raised some serious questions. Journalists, activists, politicians, and other social organizations have reminded the inhumane treatment meted out to Stan Swamy, the oldest political prisoner, when he was in jail, including denying the 84-year-old a sipper. Calling it a state-sponsored murder, people have alleged that the Modi government jailed an 84-year-old human rights activist who spent his entire life working for the underprivileged in the country. Family members of 15 other accused in the Bhima Koregaon case have said that Stan Swamy's death was not a natural death, but the institutional murder of a gentle soul committed by an inhuman state. They've also said it was very wrong that someone of this age and ill health was put in prison in the middle of a pandemic, and also when the Supreme Court was looking at decongesting jails. The statement said that as his health continued to deteriorate in jail, his medical plea was mechanically turned down by the same blind, unfeeling and insensitive NIA court. Even his COVID disease was not diagnosed in jail and could only be detected after he was moved to the hospital on orders of the High Court. Stan Swamy's death has raised some very serious questions. Was Stan Swamy's arrest an abuse of state power? What happens to the trial that Stan Swamy was waiting for when he died? Was the 84-year-old man who was designated a terrorist a victim of under trial? Can we hold negligent jails, indifferent courts and investigating agencies firmly responsible for Stan Swamy's unfortunate death? With Stan Swamy's death, the focus is also back on the use of UAPA, a charge that can dub anyone a terrorist. While many hold the government and the judicial system responsible for his death, the government has rejected all the criticism over handling of Stan Swamy's case. The government says that action is taken against violations of law and not against legitimate exercise of rights in India. Following increasing criticism from abroad over the death of Stan Swamy, the Ministry of External Affairs in India has defended that the treatment meted out by Indian authorities was strictly in accordance with the law.